YCS actually brought us Orcust. We're going to take a look at this Magical Musketeer first place special, and we also have Salamangreat and so much more. Make sure you guys smash the link, grab out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. Now, to nobody's surprise, actually a lot of people are very surprised with this, Orcust leapt through a lot of the ranks over the weekend and finished, what, top 8 out of the YCS, and you still have people kind of looking around going, how is this possible? You know, I hate to tell you this, but even without new support, the one big thing we kind of noticed out of the YCS was Rogue had a very strong showing. Like, if you knew what you were doing with the deck you were piloting, you could kind of overcome a lot of the strong meta out here. And I also think this kind of proves that, like, Orcust was doing pretty alright. Now, keep in mind, I mean, we got a lot of bricks in here, man. Especially, you know, all of these. But these monsters, well, not you. These monsters have one cool thing in common. Alright, we want to just get them off of the field and turn them on into other things. So that's where, you know, our rank 8 package here, to mill off some cards with the vampire, or, you know, hey, we can make free Dingrisu, get some spot removal options, kind of going. It really just depends on what you were looking to do. I also did like the fact that this build was playing the Link Spider, but one of the cooler techs in here was actually the fact that we were playing the topological bomber in here for a free board wipe. You know, let's call it what it is. Your opponent's not really going to be prepared to deal with a bomber dragon at this point. It's kind of funny, actually. We're in the year 2024 right now, and bomber dragon actually looks like a pretty major threat for the meta. You also get to see deck lockdown was a pretty major turning point out of the weekend out here. I cannot stress enough how much this card really is just a pain in the butt for the meta. Who knew that locking your opponent out of their deck it was actually going to be a viable strategy? I feel like we've said this a lot across the board for a majority of these events, but deck lockdown still doing the thing. Ooh. So this was our Magical Musketeer Fiendsmith deck. Now, you're going to notice a couple of interesting things with this build. One, we are doing kind of what we were expecting the older, was it the Unchained deck that we just saw out of previous events kind of doing, where your purpose of this deck is you're going to generate advantage by dropping a Magical Musketeer on the field, using it to put extra bodies on the field, and then you're going to make an attempt to change your max on into a Requiem, and then you're going to start to play the game that way. Alright, we've stripped out a lot of the extra Unchained stuff in here, and we went with a much heavier hand trap count right now. The reason why this deck is being so successful right now is one-card engines. That's right. Having a one-card engine to be, you know, basically the craziness of this meta is so very interesting, actually. It's been a while since we've seen one-card engines being the monster that they are, but they definitely are showing up. Also, this Kashtira package down here being cited. You know, you're playing 1/1/1, 7 cards for the Kashtira package. Plus, you know, Raceloth is going to give you that little extra power boost that you kind of want to see. Outside of that, I'm really not that surprised to see that larger hand trap counts are what's holding this meta at bay. Alright, the fact that you are using Maxi or Fua to draw into these additional cards to stop your opponent is well within the current expectations of the game. So, also, Fiendsmith in Paradise was an insane card out of this weekend. Like, it actually changes, I think, a lot of what people are kind of expecting to see. So, cool stuff. All right. Ooh, we have some Salamangreat for you. Now, once again, with the uptick of, you know, rogue challengers out here, also 2,500 people in a top 64, you have more people that want to experiment around with more ideas, or they want to play their pet decks out here. And with those challengers, you're going to have more people that are going, you know, we're able to break through the ceiling out here, and we're able to do the thing. Also, there's no Nibiru's in sight right now, all right? This deck's strongest end board is able to be achieved because you're not losing to that giant meteor in the sky that just goes, oh, hey, Salad player, let's go ahead and clear up your whole field here, and let's go ahead and hand you the nice thing. Also, we are just playing the Roar in the main deck, We are not doing anything else. We are side decking the Rage. I'm actually not against this. Rage is a good card, but having the Roar to set you up so you can have the protection to kind of play the game, I feel like is a little bit more important. Post side decking here, I mean, we have talents, we have thrust, you have, all of your good stuff. Also with the thrust comes somebody actually topping with the heavy slump. That's right, everybody. If your opponent goes, oh, hey, let's go ahead and resolve Fool Wars, and then you heavy slump them on the next turn, it is the funniest thing in the world, actually. But to be fair, it's not like your opponent can't ash this, because it does draw cards. So that's one big thing. I can imagine a world where your opponent has the draw power out here. You are thrust into the heavy slump, and then on the next turn you just ash the heavy slump, and your opponent's just like, oh, yeah, okay, that was a really cool tech choice. We really tried to overcome things out here. No, actually, you just got bettered by your opponent. Welcome to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, everybody. I guess you like to see it, but heavy slump, that was very unexpected. Ooh, we have some Ritual Beast action for you here. Now, I'm going to tell you this. All right, Ritual Beast definitely was a returner this weekend. Ritual Beast put in a lot of work, and I don't think people were quite prepared to see this deck actually coming through and doing things. Now, this build was doing, 2 Book of Eclipse, 2 Dark Ruler No More, so we have your standard board breaker control options set up. No evenly matches in the main deck. Actually, no evenlies to be seen at all. I see we are side decking Floodgates instead, which is actually fine right now. You are still going to get the strong side of what you need to. Flipping Skill Drain and Ritual Beast is the freest GG I've ever seen in my opponent. And also, oh no, there can only be one. Good thing all of my crap is essentially other types. The only slight confliction you're going to have is the Psychics, but those are going to get toggled out into something better as the upcoming turns go by. So that's not all that insane to be seeing out here. But Ritual Beast contention out of the weekend, I think, was some of the most interesting that we have seen so far. Just because people were looking at this deck and they're just like, it's dead. No, it looks like this format just had such a strong rollback on the meta that I'm just really, really, really intrigued with how things have changed up so much in this meta. I mean, we're heading on into the next nearest biggest power creep that we have had in the game's history. Sure, but you know what? For one last yeehaw or hurrah for an event, it's really cool to see all of these rogue contenders doing so strong. And also proves, how good things like Book of Eclipse and Dark Ruler No More will be. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Dark Ruler No More as a counter card heading on into the next meta, actually. And we have some Chimera Illusion. Now, this is the first thing that drew my attention. Hey, we're playing the Fiend Reflection because it's an illusion monster. If this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by battle. And if this card is in your hand, you can place it in your spell and trap card zone as continuous. When it activates a card or effect, this card is a continuous spell. You can special summon this card. Then you can gain life points equal to half the attack of one monster on the field. Oh, so you're just telling me that we're not playing this as a time card in my Chimera deck. Yeah, we actually are, which is actually kind of funny, actually. I did not expect to see this showing up out here, but we're just kind of in one of those really interesting situations right now that the format is just allowing us to kind of play these cool cards and find places for them in the meta. Also, shout out to the Ultimate Slayer. I know we're a little bit ahead of where we need to be right now in terms of seeing Slayer. I think people are just kind of preparing for the future out here. But also, Book of Eclipse being another one of those very, very strong cards out here, man. If you notice one big thing out of the weekend, Book of Eclipse needs to be on your radar right now. Having that massive control option to flip down an entire field and put your opponent into one of these terrible positions is actually kind of insane. But outside of that, there's not a lot of craziness kind of going on with the meta right now. I think that the meta is in a very good place right now. We'll see how things shift up here in the next 2 weeks, but I love what I'm seeing. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Patrons! Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.